I think that it's easy to, depersonalize and think that your issues are yours alone or that you're the only one going through something. But I think, like everybody has a complex life that they choose to live or have to live. I think that it's very close minded or detrimental to our health as people to only think that our lives are the ones who, actually have character or that are complex in any way. And I think we lose a lot of our personalization with people, and we also lose some of our ability to interact with people. I feel like we put people on a pedestal and treat them as if they're not human and as if they don't, endure the same human hardships that we do. So as to say, like, they're above it or they, have just found a way to mitigate it or they've, transcended it in a way. But the reality is everybody always has a problem, you know? I think the human mind is a very capable thing, and I think the best thing it is used for is to look for problems to solve. I think that the mind is always going to look for a problem to solve, no matter what situation you're in. If you're not consciously, actively putting your mind on the subject, it's going to find a problem. I believe that 100%. Like, that's why even rich people, like, you think, oh, they have everything. Oh, he has everything. Oh, she has everything. And they still are afflicted with a lot of, like, mental issues. And that's because that stuff doesn't go away, There's always going to be a battle you're facing. And I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I think it's how you handle those problems. Like if you're conscious enough to, move about it and realize that if it's not in your hands, it shouldn't be in your mind, or if all you can think about it's not worth thought. But there are many scenarios and many cases at which where people find themselves romanticizing the lives of others rather than, appreciating the lives they live. I think that there are plenty of cases that have, instances where people are underappreciated or neglected or, have certain traumas that are definitely not their fault. And I'm speaking in terms of those things that are outside of those things, the mundane things that we like to stress ourselves over and the things that make us, reevaluate our own value when they have ultimately nothing to do with us. Those type things, those things that make you think that someone is suddenly like above everything. And I don't think anybody's ever going to get to that point. I don't think anybody is at that point. Everybody is waging some sort of war inside their head at any given time. And I don't think that, there is a point in getting. Part of who we are is change and growth, Change is inevitable when growth is a goal. And in order to change, we need to endure things and experience new things. There's always more to learn. Like, the self is nothing but it's like Alan Watts said, the self is nothing but a collection of memories and how you react to the world. And I think there's always going to be more stimulus to react to. There's always going to be a next thing. So I think the point is to, come to the realization of Sonder. Everybody has a complex life. And you need to realize the importance of your own as well. Like, sometimes I like to live out my life as if like I'm treat myself in like a third person point of view. Like, what would I want this character to do? What would I want myself to do in certain situations? Because if we always take the first person perspective, we lose a lot of our potential and possibility to do what we actually want to achieve. Because a lot of stuff gets stopped by our anxiety and feeling of the first person. But some things are better for us, and some things we should actually be, striving towards, benefit who we are or benefit the things we do. So I think any point would be to, like, appreciate the fact that other people have their own complex life, and not saying like you should be like, oh, you're going through this, but know that they're going through something. Know that no one person's going to be above everything. Like, you shouldn't. I don't think we should put people on certain pedestals in order to associate with them. I feel like it's almost treating people as if they're above human. Like, I feel like part of the human experience is that prerequisite ode to issue. It's that realization that there is stuff going on, and it's the overcoming of it that, ferments a character. For someone to not endure anything, they're not, I don't think they're, like you can tell when people haven't been through a lot. You're like, oh, he or she hasn't experienced a lot, or he or she hasn't gone through a hardship. They have, I definitely think they have, but it's all a matter of perspective. Like if you've been to war or something like that, your tolerance level is going to be here. But like for those of us, I've been fortunate enough to not have to endure a lot of those hardships. My bar is probably like down there, just because I haven't reached that peak. I haven't experienced those certain things. And I think that people need to realize that, like, all feelings are valid, all feelings are valid, but the way at which we express it, how we interact with the external world, how we react, I feel like that part that's in our control, that's what we need to focus on. You can feel any type of way about anything, but I feel like the reaction, is a very important thing to dictate and control. At the end of the day, the world's never a one-man show. Like, what we do impacts others, and I think we should definitely be conscious of that. But we also need to realize how others impact us, doing what's best for us, because at the end of the day, everybody's going through something.